YouTube channel. I'm live. I'm Claire, the creator of the channel, and it's great to see you all this evening. So tonight I have a couple of very special guests for you. I have none other than patron Pascale Mathonet and Chris Ullman, her husband. And the reason that these guys are on the show tonight is that they've just done the spine race last week. So Pascale did 165 miles of the spine race and Chris managed to complete the whole thing. So first of all, guys, we just want to know, is your marriage still intact?
Yeah.
We're still talking. Yeah. Haven't moved into the spare room yet.
Because I did hear that that was the reason that you didn't run together. Is that right? You chose to not run together. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's a funny one. So the first ultra races we've done, we stick together just because we always train together. So we stick together, and it always ended up quite painful because Chris is too fast for me anyway. So I had to push a bit more than I was comfortable, and he had to slow.
I was just encouraging.
And from the moment we decided, okay, we do the same races, but at our own pace, and we don't stick together, it worked much better for both of us. So that's why we decided. And for the spine, it was the same. I think it's more like a personal achievement than a team sport. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. And Pascale might start off slower, but I was fully expecting her to catch me up by the end, with better endurance. I'll be off like a rat up a drain pipe, but, just burn out quickly.
Has she done that to races with you before then? Has she caught you up?
She's gradually catching up on me. I've been surprised, actually, on the OCC, she wasn't that far behind me, actually. And so I had her mum saying, Pascale's 50 minutes behind you, and I was thinking, wow, yeah, she might well catch me, so I just have to get my skates on.
Yeah, oh brilliant. I didn't realise you were doing the OCC as well, because I didn't realise that Chris was also doing the spine race, because Pascale being my patron, we were all like in the patron group, we were going, yeah, Pascale's doing it, yeah, putting up little posts, have you seen her, she's here. And then I was messaging Chris going, hey, how's Pascale doing, is she alright? And not realising that Chris was actually doing the spine race. So sorry, Chris.
No, that's right, that's okay. Like I say, I'm just playing stealth mode. So,
yeah, stealth Chris. Yeah, stealth spining. So we've got loads of questions tonight from patrons. Loads of people watching already, which is fantastic. But the first question, I've got a couple of questions I just need to ask you before we launch into all the patron questions. And the first question is, why did you choose the spine race? Because have you done stuff like this before? Was this going to be your biggest thing?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah.
Purely by accident, really. Yeah. Yeah. So last year we decided to volunteer. So it's a race that was on the bucket list, but for many years from now, I think. Something that's so far out there that we are interested, but it's too far out there. Yeah, the ultimate challenge.
Yes, exactly. So last year we volunteered in the safety team to see how tough it was. And when we got out of it, we said, oh, never we do that. It's really too hard. It looks horrible. It's awful. Yeah. But then every year they have a few tickets for free for the volunteers. So we both put our names in the hat for free tickets, and we got both drawn out.
So wow, both of you. What's the chances of that?
So we had the choice of the Challenger or the Spine, and then we thought,
we have free entry.
Yeah, might as well just go for the Spine, otherwise we'll be back,
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, let's just go for it. So we had a best part of a year to train. So
9 months.
We thought, that's enough. We'll get ourselves in condition. So we've been obsessing about it for 9-10 months.
Yeah, wow, it's a real group project then, isn't it? So
gosh, yes.
And it was good that it was, because it does consume a lot of your time. Just the preparation, the training, the kit, knowing the route, doing the recce's. So that was really nice.
It takes a lot
actually.
of time. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it does. It's good that you both have the same hobby, because imagine if one of you got in and the other one didn't, then you'd just be like, who can I talk to about this?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And just tell me a little bit about your training, and then I'll put some hellos up from everyone in the comments section, so that we can see who's watching tonight live. But yeah, just tell me a little bit about your training in a nutshell. Was it the same exactly for both of you?
It was similar, I think. What we were trying to do was to not go out and run all the miles. So it's a mixture of running, jogging, and walking. Mm-hmm. So probably half the miles that we're doing were walking with the pack on. And I was trying to work up to about 100 miles a week in December. Looking at Jasmine Paris's training, I was thinking, yeah, I'm never going to be as good as Jasmine Paris, but that sort of gave me some goal to aim for. It took a lot of time, but at the beginning of December, I think I probably got up to about 100 miles. Is that right? Or 100 kilometres. No, 120 kilometres I think I was at. And then we did the Cheviot Goat. And I picked up an injury, and then that was it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think we also did quite a lot of recce of the route. So from August, I would say, we did recce as much as we could. So that was good training to see how the route was and how boggy it was. And that was very useful, actually, very useful. Yeah,
so the recces were meant to be about 100 kilometres over a weekend. And we started off wild camping, just bibbing down in a field or a hollow somewhere.
Romantic.
Yeah. Eating mosquitoes. Then we decided to just find a B&B in a pub.
Brilliant.
So we didn't have to rough it all the time.
Yeah. Oh well. But by the sounds of it, the spine race isn't really roughing it, because those checkpoints look amazing. Luxury. People waiting on you hand and foot. Hot meals.
The volunteers are incredible.
Yes, definitely.
They take your boots off, and it was. The service was incredible. It was like having a butler.
Yeah, like an oasis of warmth in the Pennine Way there. And so just coming on to a couple of Patreon questions now. Oh no, I said I'd do some hellos, didn't I? So we've got Graham House all the way from South Africa is watching, and he says, lovely to see you, and to everyone else who's watching as well. Nigel Barnett says hello to everyone. Robin Townsend says, made it, hello. And also we've got Brad Rush from Vancouver Island in Canada, so quite an international crowd tonight, and tons more people watching, and like Biker Bob, who says evening all. If you want me to read out any hellos tonight, then type them now and I'll be reading them out in the next little break. But first we've got a question from Tom Avery, who is another patron like Pascale is, and he is asking about kit. He wants to know, how much kit did you both carry, and what was it? Because I think this is really interesting, because I've interviewed John Kelly, the winner, and I've also interviewed Sabrina Vergi, the ladies winner. But I think this is really important for people who are in the mid pack or back of the pack. What are you carrying? Because most people running the spine race are not elite, so it's really important to know what you guys are taking with you.
Yeah, and I'm quite happy to share, because I didn't have any kit failure at all. I was really happy with my kit, so that's something that worked really well for me. So unlike the fast people, I went for proper mountain gear. So really good waterproof jacket, really good waterproof trousers, not the super light brands that are made for ultras, but really like proper gear. And that really made a difference, because I was never wet, never cold. Didn't have any issue on that point. And in the backpack we had quite a long list of compulsory equipment to have. So we had sleeping bag, sleeping mat, BV bag,
cooking. Stove. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. I had to take a stove with a gas canister.
Quite a lot of spare clothes.
Yeah. Spare mid layer, base layer.
3,000 calories of food, yeah. Yeah, so it's quite a fair bit to carry.
Yeah, so it's about, I reckon with the water, it was probably about 8 kilograms. kilograms.
Yeah.
Likewise, I mean, I started off with waterproof, sort of lightweight running waterproofs. Shredded them on the first day.
Oh no!
Yeah, tripped up.
I saw a lot of split waterproof trousers. I have to say.
but I had a spare pair of a bit more rugged waterproofs, like sailing waterproofs from Musto. So.
Thank goodness. That would have ended your race, surely, with Storm Brendan.
I could have patched them up with a bit of gaffer tape, but but I think that the key thing was just robust kit. So proper Gore-Tex jacket and Gore-Tex trousers. I started off with trainers. So I was wearing rock lights for the first 2 days, and I spent more time on my ass than standing up because it was so slippery, you know, hard and everything. So I swapped over to boots on the third checkpoint. And
like actual hiking boots?
Yeah.
Sort of lightweight hiking boots.
Fast packing boots.
Is that what they're called? Yeah, so that worked really well actually. Got a bit more grip.
And more cushioning also.
Carried less mud on my body.
A bit lighter. Yeah. It sounds like a lot of kit.
Yeah, and I wore between 1 and 2 base layers, a mid layer which was a lightweight fleece, just the cheap fleece, and then I had a sort of lightweight puffer as well, just in case it got cold. But that rarely came out of the backpack. That was just extreme.
Yeah. And 5,000 pairs of gloves.
Yeah, so many gloves, my God. Because gloves, if you get them wet,
that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty useless. So I must have carried about 3 pairs of gloves.
Me too.
Yeah,
at
so
all time.
2 pairs of waterproof and 1 pair of like running gloves, and or mittens. So that was critical.
Wow.
And waterproof socks.
Oh gosh,
critical.
Yes.
So the critical items for us were, I think, waterproof socks, waterproof gloves, balaclava, and like a thermos flask, because we carried water, cold water, but I also carried hot water, and then at the aid stations top up with hot water on the thermos flask, so you can add it to food or just drink it when you get a bit cold.
Yeah, that is a good idea. Yeah, a flask. So it is really like going hiking, isn't it, rather than running?
Yes,
Spine race. Yeah, and that's interesting about the kit, because there's a follow-on question here from Sue Hewitson. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Sorry. It should pop up. Why is it not popping up? Let me just get it from around here. Sorry, everyone. Okay, it's here. I don't know why that wasn't popping up. I'd already loaded it in, but it did not want to pop up. Okay, so Sue Hewitson, she wants to know more about the kit. She wants to know, how do you keep warm at night, and what do you do once your waterproofs are soaked? Like, do you have a kit change at every checkpoint? So I suppose she wants to know a bit more about the logistics, because if you don't know the Spine Race, you might not know there's a drop bag system. So how does that all work?
Yeah, so you are allowed a 20 kilo drop bag, which travel from checkpoint to checkpoint. So I think in mine, at least 5 kilo was food, I would say, and the rest spare clothes and also spare batteries. So you need quite a lot of batteries for head torch and sat nav. I never had a problem of soaked waterproofs, because I really had good gear, so that was never an issue. But changing at least base layer when you get to checkpoint, and socks, because that did get wet each time. And I never got cold either. I think it's just layering up enough layers and keep moving. If you stop moving, then you might get cold quite quickly. But if you have to stop in sheltered area, never in exposed area, and if you keep moving. I never had really problem with cold. You did on the last night, didn't you?
The last night was really cold, really extreme, just wind chill. So I did have a wind shirt, very lightweight wind shirt, that I wore under the jacket when it was really windy, just to keep the wind out. There was one occasion coming into Tan Hill. I was quite damp actually. It had been raining all day, and that wasn't a checkpoint, official checkpoint that we can get our items from the drop bag. So really, it was just wearing your items in the pub to try to dry them out. Really, so
with your body heat.
Yeah, just with body heat, but just in a warm place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so critical to keep dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you do run into problems. Yeah.
Yeah, because John Gardner had a question as well, which again is, I must have done something to these questions because they're not coming up. I'll have to just re-get them all from. I've got them all here as screenshots, but I loaded them all into the program, and I'll just get them all in again. So John Gardner wants to know how you stayed warm in the cold, wet conditions with falling temperatures, especially as Storm Brendan was rolling in.
Yes.
So yeah, you said that you didn't get cold. Can you give people a little kind of advice on how you did that?
Yeah, I think it's layering up. So I had like merino base layers, a couple of them sometimes, and then I had a Primaloft jacket on top of that, and then the waterproof on top. So it's just adding more layers and good quality.
Yeah, that's interesting because when you start off, you worry about taking too much kit, so you almost are packing borderline not enough.
Yes.
The minimum amount, and then as you go through the race, weight doesn't become an issue because I think you adapt.
You get used to
you adapt to the weight of the backpack, and you're actually trying to put in more kit than maybe the backpack will allow. So in the end, I was just making sure I had enough warm gear. So I had like Primaloft gilet and my lightweight puffer, but just enough kit that if it did get really cold, it would see me through. So it was really strange because you just you do adapt, and that 8 kilograms doesn't feel like it did at the start of the race, surprisingly enough. So it was just having enough kit and layering up when it did get cold.
Yeah, it's all good advice, guys. Just got a couple of questions about your gear coming through on the live chat. So Paul Feeley says, what make of waterproof socks were they, and were they effective?
That's a good debate. I had the Dex Shell one, and I was really happy with them. I had enough, because the problem with waterproof socks, they are pretty much single use sometimes, aren't they? So I had one new pair at each checkpoint, and that did work for me. You had different ones.
Yeah, so I probably went through the whole spectrum. So I started off with these Gore like cycle booty things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, complete gear failure. For a start, they're quite short, and we had to wade through quite deep streams.
So the water goes straight in.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, the reason I got them is, if there's a hole in them, you can repair them. So I thought, okay, that's good. But that just went out the window first checkpoint. Then I swapped over to duck shell, which was great, but I got those really, really, really dirty and muddy on the next section. And then I had some seal skins, which are great actually. They worked as well as the deck shell. Probably I'd say a little bit more sweaty than a deck shell. And I kept those to the end. Those wonderful people at the checkpoints rinsed them out for me.
Wow.
I wore them damp, but they worked enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose they not only keep your feet quite well dry, apart from if you sweat in them, but warm as well with the wind.
And clean.
Yeah, so we wore lining socks under those. So it wasn't just waterproof. I had some long lining merino socks underneath those.
I think it also keeps your feet clean, so you don't have as many blisters and things like that than if you have dirt coming in the shoe and in the socks. Yeah, okay, that's great. So socks, very important. And then we've got Graham Howes. He says, could you give us some insight into your shoe selections? Did you have different options with you in the drop bags? Okay, well, I think my problem is the 20 kilos. It sounds like a lot, but I was over 20 kilos. I think it's good they didn't check the weight because I was over. So I only had one spare pair of shoes. So I started with the Innovate, the Rocklight, the booty one. You know, they call them fast packing boots. But it's the
a bit of a high top to them.
Yeah, I spent 2 days in those, and then I switched to hiking boots. They are the Merrell. I forgot which one they are. They're made more for the cold because they're quite insulated. The reason why I changed is with the Innovate, I started having the lack of cushioning. I think was getting a bit of an issue. So I went for like more comfy shoes, and that worked really well for me. I think at the front of the pack, a lot of people have like more running shoes, and at the back of the pack is more hiking shoes. I have the feeling because people are out there for much longer, so you need comfort, I think.
Yeah, I didn't regret changing to the boots. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the grip, and actually the sort of rock plate. I think your feet do take a pounding over the miles. Ended up with swollen feet anyway, but I think the boots certainly protected my feet. You know, I wouldn't say heavy leather walking boots. No. These are quite light.
Yeah, not like a big mountaineering boot or anything. Yeah, that's really interesting, and I kind of like that it's more of a hiking race than a running race, because you just think, can anyone run 268 miles really through all that mud? So yeah, it's quite nice to know that actually most people are hiking. But from shoes all the way down the bottom of the body to Guy Greatorex's question, and I know he's just joined us from the live chat from his run, so I'm going to ask his question right now. He says, why was everyone wearing goggles? I have not seen this before. So what were they? Were they swimming goggles or like ski goggles?
More, it's really more like a protective goggle. So because you spend so much time out there and the wind was so horrific, so they introduced that as compulsory kit a few years ago because some people suffered from wind blindness. So and you know it can be quite dangerous. So they pull you out of the race as soon as you show signs of blindness. It's temporary if you take it on time, but if you spend too long in the wind, you can really lose your sight. So they don't want to take any risk. And I actually used them on the Cheviot goat in December when we already had quite stormy weather, and this time I used them pretty much the whole time, and it does help with the eyes because it's with the wind. It's
the wind chill on the retinas.
It does the eyes. Yeah, it does hurt the eyes quite a lot.
Yeah. So it's extreme. It's like going skiing without goggles on. You're in the same kind of territory as skiers. Yeah, fantastic. Well, we've got a question now about the food. So Sue Hewitson once more, she says, eating. How did they feel? Did you feel like eating? And what did you eat?
Okay, great question. So
you managed it better than I
did. I mean, I had no problem eating. So, I mean, they recommend like 3,000. You carry 3,000 calories, but looking at this sort of race, you really need to take in at least 6,000 a day. So, you know, the sort of food I was taking was the normal sort of porridge bars, chocolate bars, but I also. I hope there's no vegetarians out there. Pork scratchings.
He took a live sheep and he killed it on the trail.
Those pork scratchings was my go-to high-calorie food, and I might need translating for non-British people.
Did you know what they were, Pascale? Pork scratchings?
I don't eat meat, so I didn't touch it. I didn't know before I came to this country, I have to say. I think we eat that on the continent. I never see it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a speciality.
Do you just want to explain what pork scratchings are then, Chris, for anyone who's watching who doesn't actually know?
Yeah, it's what can I say, Claire? It's like deep fried pig skin, isn't it? So,
Lovely. Sometimes, like in the pub, you get them in little packets like crisps, don't you? And I've got them out before, and like it's got a bit of hair still on it, and you're just like, oh, how can I even eat that? But it's delicious, isn't it? If you're a meat eater, it's a delicious snack. It's very salty, full of fat.
it goes down really well. It's salty, and there's quite a bit of protein in there as well as fat. I found out.
Oh really? Oh, I didn't realise that.
Not all bad.
Yeah.
I did eat some nuts as well. So.
And then proper food. I think you really need to eat a lot of proper food. Like when you do like, I say short ultras, but which doesn't work together. But you do like 50k or 100k races. You can get away with like more snacky food and gels and things like that. But here you really need proper meal. And I did struggle from the start with eating, so I didn't feel like eating and felt a bit nosy and I think that didn't help either.
But one thing, one food that we were trying this time was the instant mash. So if you take a flask of hot water, you can just add it to a packet of instant mash. Like meal, yeah.
Yeah, I also had quite a lot of packs of lyophilized food. Quite high calorie packs.
Yeah, and you get food at the checkpoints, is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of food was available there? I was talking to a few people and it sounded amazing.
We had
5-star.
Yeah, cottage pie.
Gosh, I barely remember.
Yeah, pasta. It was really good actually. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
So eggs, scrambled eggs and stuff.
And they always had options for vegetarian and even vegan, I think. Yeah.
Rice pudding for dessert. So, that's great.
Yeah, it sounds good. Well, we've got loads more people joining us on the chat now. It seems everybody's come back from their runs and people are making their dinner. Nigel Barnett agrees with you, Chris. He says, I love pork scratchings. And Paul Feeley says, I normally eat mini pork pies during ultra races. That's cool. And also Guy Greatorex wanted to say thank you very much for answering his question. He said, well done both of you, you're amazing. And it was very interesting what you answered to his question, so that's fab. There are more questions coming through on the live chat, but I'm just going to get and some people saying it's great to see that there was vegan options as well. That's really good. But just before we get to some of the live chat questions, and do keep your questions coming, guys, if you've got questions on the live chat for Pascale and Chris here, who have almost done the spine race, and we'll come to your decision in just a moment there, Pascale. We have your moment of fame. But the first one, I should probably read out this one from Steph Hall, who is very excited. She's free and she has Wi-Fi to be able to join us for the first time tonight. So Steph, if you're listening, hello to you. If you're not listening live, then where are you? And so sleep deprivation now. We've done a bit of food. Kat Roberts would like to know about sleep deprivation and the navigation aspect of that. So she said, how do you kind of not get lost finding your way across like a mountaintop swamp in after days and days of no sleep? Like, how do you do it, and can you even train for that?
For the sleep deprivation, I don't know if you can train for it. That was my problem, so that's why I pulled out. So I really had problems sleeping at checkpoints. I don't know if it's because I think also the timing was a bit wrong. I always got a checkpoint like middays, and that's pretty much the obvious place to sleep, because it's either there or in the wild, where with the storm and everything you don't really want to sleep outside. So I tried to sleep during the day, but I just slept for like 1 hour and then couldn't sleep anymore. So after 4 days I started sleepwalking quite a lot, and I had a bit of a scare on top of a cliff with my sleepwalking. And
what happened there then with the walking in the cliff?
Well, I came really close to the edge of the cliff, and I didn't realize because I was sleeping. So at that point I decided that that's it. I didn't feel safe anymore to carry on in my state, and at the next, it was not really a checkpoint. It was more like a small stop. At the next stop, I realized I didn't have time to rest before going up Crossfell. So if people don't know, Crossfell is the coldest place in England, apparently. It's very, very exposed, and the winds were picking up again. And I took the decision that I was not in a state to tackle Crossfell safely, and I didn't want to put the mountain rescue, in danger either to come and get me. So, for me that was, it's disappointing, but it's,
And did you not have enough time with the cut-offs to have a sleep before you went then?
It was getting quite tight, and because the weather conditions were degrading again, they didn't want us to leave after a certain time, just to make sure that we can get to the other side safely.
It was really wild up there.
Yeah.
I know.
How did you cope with sleep deprivation?
I don't know how much sleep I had over the whole week. Probably. I was at checkpoints quite, I spent a few more hours at checkpoints than I slept, obviously. I reckon I probably had about 7 hours, I think. And I was hallucinating like a lunatic.
Really? What were you seeing?
Oh, loads of stuff. Oh my God. At the end, it was just trying to work out what was real and what wasn't. So I was... faces in pebbles as I was going along, and then I saw things on the dry stone walls with the lichens, so that would be like, at one point I was seeing Smurfs rowing a boat.
Wow.
On the dry stone wall, and then I had a koala moving a sign around on the Cheviot so I couldn't read it.
Oh, lots of animals.
Yeah, and then in the bogs there was like it started getting really spooky, like I don't know, dolls in the water and faces and things like that.
Oh, it sounds like the spine race is really not one for people who watch a lot of horror movies. Imagine if you just watched like Annabelle or something, and then you saw all these dolls' faces, and yeah.
It was a complete horror show at the end.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. So that was, you'd sort of you do maintain a sense of reality, apart from whacking things with your walking pole.
Get that skull out of the way. Yeah.
So,
and so where were you when Pascale finished? Were you already over Crossfell then? Had you done that bit earlier?
I was probably about 7 hours ahead of her.
Yeah.
So we'd gone over just at dusk. It was really windy, and when we went over, I was, leaning into the wind quite a lot just to keep upright. Yeah,
Sabrina Vergier, I just talked to her, the First Lady. She said she actually got blown off her feet over Crossfell, or was it Shunnafell? One of the exposed fells. Yeah. She got blown off her feet. So it does sound like a good decision that you made there, Pascale, and we are very pleased to have you here in one piece tonight to chat, because there's always another race.
Yes, exactly.
But how did you feel when you were making that decision? How did you feel? Were you upset, or did you come to terms with it quite quickly? What was it like?
Oh, it took me a while to come to the decision. I was leaving it as much as I could. So I was staying in that stopping point, trying to sleep a bit, trying to delay the decision as much. And I was quite upset. I did cry for 2 days about it.
Oh, bless you. Well, it's just because it meant a lot.
Yeah, no, it's also the lack of sleep, and you just don't think straight anymore. And I felt disappointed because we were both raising money for charity, so you have the feeling you let people down, and I was quite upset, but I never regretted my decision because I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, and it was amazing though, even though you were really sleep deprived and you were sleepwalking, you still had that presence of mind to say, hang on a minute, you thought about the other people who might be involved in a rescue and you called it before it was too late. And I think that just shows a really, really good sense of sensibility, of sensibleness. Yeah. Yeah, and we are all really proud of you because you went 165 miles, and it's only
it's much more that I have done.
Incredible. It's incredible, and it's only because it's in the context of a 268-mile race that you're thinking of it as that you didn't complete it. But maybe, like, I'm sure everybody that you're raising money for in your charity will give you the money anyway because it's an amazing achievement anyway. But if you went back and just did the last bit, you could crack out another 100 miles on there, no problems over a weekend. You could finish it off. Then you could say, I've done it.
Yeah, I think the timing just worked against you, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, because the weather was so extreme, they made a sort of conditional judgment that, either you go now or you miss it, basically. And I think, I think that just worked against you.
Yeah, so another year with better weather, but we'll ask you that at the end. That's one of the ending questions, so keep people watching. So the navigation, you can also use GPS, can't you, with the navigation?
Yeah,
so
that's compulsory equipment.
What were you using?
Yeah, so the GPS is compulsory equipment as well as map, and I have to admit I didn't use my map because it was so windy. I was worried I would lose it. So I used my GPS all the time, and I had very little problem with navigation.
What were you using it on a watch, or did you have one of those handheld ones?
No, you have to have a proper handheld one.
Okay.
So I had one of those Garmin one, and
E-Trex.
Yeah, one of the E-Trex, and it worked really, really well. But we trained with it a lot.
Yeah, you definitely have to train with it.
Yeah,
so it's got,
you have to get used to it.
Yeah. How is it different from using a map? Because to me, it seems like you just like point it and go like a sat nav. Is it as easy as a sat nav?
Yeah, but you have a very narrow view. So I think when you read a map, you can see, okay, now I have that. You have a more global view of where you're going, what's coming next. Here you're on a very tiny screen, so it's a bit more. It's really like walking with how do you call those things?
Blinkers, yeah.
Yeah, like the horse things, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's a little bit, different, but it works fine for me.
Yeah, and through the bogs at night with
you
a
just
GPS.
Follow the line.
Honestly, I don't know how people do it with just maps and a compass at night. It's really tricky.
Yeah, it is really hard, isn't it? Yeah. A lot of respect for both of you, and respect for you, Pascale. On the live chat, Robin Townsend said she ran Hike Up Nick last year, and she can't imagine how scary it must be to sleepwalk up there. So she says you're a brave woman. Well done. And then Paul Feeley said, if anyone's not heard of Hike Up Nick, they should look it up because it's a beautiful area to run.
It's gorgeous. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm sure it'd be nice when it's not windy and the night. Yeah, and we've had a bit of chat as well about the pork scratchings. So there are pork scratchings in other parts of the world. So let's
there you go.
This is essential knowledge now, guys. So we've got John Gardner. He says, in the States, we refer to pork scratchings as pork rinds, sometimes packaged and sold next to the crisps. Quite popular and gross. No thanks. So no, it's a no from John. But Graham Howes, he's over in South Africa, and he says that pork rinds are also quite popular there as well, but not quite as popular as biltong, he says. And just gonna say a quick hello to Conrad Anderson from Michigan, who has just got in, and he says hello Claire and Pascale and Chris. He's loving the show tonight. And John Gardner said he wouldn't have lasted more than a few hours in those cold, wet and windy conditions in that storm, so bravo to you. So yeah, loads of respect here for you and the excellent decision making. And then we have another question here. yeah, I'm just thinking, have we covered everything? Is there like the next couple of questions are kind of overall kind of and recovery questions. Is there anything else about the spine race itself that you feel like people in the middle of the pack should know? Is there anything we haven't covered yet?
Just be prepared for the bogs.
How do you prepare for a bog? Do you go bog snorkeling maybe?
Right. I mean, you know, so at some point I was travelling with an Austrian guy, and we're coming into Middleton, which is
halfway,
literally the halfway point, and it's like, so have we got many more bogs?
It's all bog.
Yeah, they don't have them in Austria.
Really?
Where, no.
Yeah, and so I said, well, 200 kilometres. You know?
Yeah.
We like that. Yeah, so I don't think, you know, it's difficult to prepare if you haven't been on the terrain.
Yeah, that's interesting actually, because I'm just scrolling back through the live chat, and Graham Howes asked earlier, if possible, could you give us... Oh, no, that's not the right one from Graham Howes. We did that one. Okay, so he says, how does the spine race compare to what you've done in Chamonix in terms of physical stuff and the technicalness of the trails?
It's completely different. It's night and day. So... in the Alps, most of the paths we've done, they're nicely... they're usually very well marked, well defined. It's quite rocky, so you know you need a rock plate. It's quite tough on the feet because it's quite hard packed terrain. Much more vert compared to
tougher climbs.
Very long climb,
climbs,
like 1500 meter of climb in one go. Here it was mud. So it's nice because it's soft on the feet.
Yeah,
but as far as it goes,
it's a different time of year as well. So the Alpine Trail is normally quite dry.
Yes.
Yeah, and this year they said it was a lot muddier than previous years. And
wow.
I mean,
How can it get any muddier?
Yes.
I was in the media team in 2017, and oh my god, it was like just a bath of mud. Hippos would have been in that element there.
Yeah. So, I think that was a big factor this year. They said it was really muddy and boggy. I got shin splints, and apparently there were quite a few people getting shin splints, probably because of just the lifting your foot out of the mud the whole time. So
a few hours of daylight too, which is
quite
difficult.
Yeah. So if you're coming from Europe and used to all these nice trails, like rocky, gravelly trails, like on the UTMB and OCC, you're going to be in for a shock, aren't you?
Oh yes, definitely.
A big slap in the face.
I felt really sorry for people coming from abroad that didn't have any chance to recce the route. I thought, oh my god.
Yeah.
Because we did recce quite a lot of it, so we knew what to expect, which was nice. I think it was very nice.
I think mentally we're prepared for it. In terms of the terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound like a good idea to come recce if you can. That's true for any race, isn't it? But if you're foreign, or you know, same for us going to races in other places, we'll be like, where's the mud? I'm wearing these shoes with big prongs on, and there's no use because there's no mud. May as well be wearing road shoes.
And paddle in the bog.
Yeah. We do like a bit of bog over here in the UK, don't we? So a couple of final questions here. Mick Siouville, or patron, says, this is a kind of a philosophical type question here, what was the single most important thing you learnt about yourselves during the race? He says it would be great to get an insight after taking such a huge challenge. So what's the important... Have you got a most important thing you've both learned about yourselves?
It's really interesting. So when I got Pascale's message that she hadn't made it over Crossfell, I was thinking about dropping out as well at Ulster, which was checkpoint 4, because I got shin splints that started to really aggravate me, but I thought I'd just push on and see how that went. So it was 80, 90 miles to the end, and I thought as long as I can walk, I'd carry on. So I think I've learned that I can actually punish myself that much. I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but it got me to the end. So
yeah, you can take the pain if necessary. Yeah, it's a good thing to learn about yourself. You get more confident about other things in life, then, don't you?
Yeah, but it was really nice actually, because there were people en route that gave us food, and actually, just that human kindness is the best analgesic. I found that really sort of motivated me. Yeah, that was really nice. That sort of made me carry on more than anything, I think.
Awesome.
In my case, so I was on my own most of the time during the race. It's just how things panned out. Sometimes you just don't fit with anybody pace-wise. So I was on my own most nights and during most of the race, and I didn't have any problem with that. So I spent 4 days and 4 nights out there, and I was quite happy with my navigation, happy with looking after myself, and I think that was also a big confident boost, like that I'm a strong woman and I can defend myself on my own, and I think that was I think that's what I learned from the experience.
Yeah, so that you're strong, and I really know. I think Arleen asks you this question. Actually, I might just put her question up here. So she's asked about mandatory kit checks along the way, but then she's asked another question. So we'll just firstly ask: did you have mandatory kit checks along the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know for you, Chris, but when we left Dufton, so before going to Crossfeld, they were checking. We had like the big sleeping bag and everything, and enough food to go across. And you have to have like 3,000 calories of food at certain checkpoint. They were checking that too. So checked quite a lot along the way. I think it's most for your own sake, because when you get really tired, you tend to forget to look after yourself, pack the right things. So that they were checking that.
Yeah, same at Burness. So just before the Cheviots as well, it's the same thing. Just check you had enough to survive out there if things went wrong. So sleeping bag, BB bag, and food, and water over the Cheviots, because there's not much.
There is much water, but not clean.
Take a straw.
Not clean water.
A box straw. Yeah. Okay, so there was mandatory kit checks, which brings me on to her next question, which she wants to know: how long is it taking you to recover, and what are you doing as far as recovery is concerned? Because when we first started the phone call, Pascale was over there by that Mont Blanc picture, and then she hobbled over to the screen. So a week has gone past, and it's still not out of your legs yet. How are you recovering, and what are you doing?
I don't feel. I think sleep is the. I have been back to work since Monday, and I'm really struggling to look awake and pretend I'm there. So I think sleep is a massive one for me. I don't have any feeling in my toes yet. They're like numb. They have been numb for the last few days. Apparently, it's normal. Trying to keep the feet up, because you have really swollen feet. I try to walk every day to keep some movement. Chris has been using shopping trolley as a Zimmer frame.
Well, and you've been getting in the shopping trolley, pushing you around.
I mean, I've got swollen. I've got like hobbit feet at the moment, massively swollen, and it's just my shin, so I can't. Yeah. I've not been walking far, put it that way.
Yeah.
It will take some time, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But have you been eating differently, or have you just gone, oh, well, we're just a bit disabled at the moment, and we'll just get better soon?
We're just eating so much since we come back. Just like, I just feel hungry all the time.
Did you lose weight?
I lost 1.5 kilo.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got an excuse.
Did you not lose weight then, Chris?
I don't think so, no.
I think you're so puffy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll be water retention. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is a fair bit of that. Yeah, I've been eating loads.
More pork scratchings then.
Try to stay a bit on the healthy side, but yeah, I think we're very hungry. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does sound like you deserve food after all of that. Which leads me to the burning question that I have, especially for Pascale, because Chris, obviously, congratulations to Chris, finished the entire event, absolutely amazing. But Pascale, are you going to do it again? Like, maybe it's too soon to ask you this. Are you going to do it again?
That's so funny, because when I went into the race, I thought that's the one time, I'm never gonna come back. I have to finish it. And then when I withdrew, I thought, oh God. 20 minutes later, I thought, I have to come back now.
Yeah.
So, yes, I do think I will go back. Maybe not too soon. I might try the summer version first. Because they do have a summer version. Maybe I'll try the summer version, because it might be easier to cope with, sleeping at the right time, because it might be easier to just sleep on the trail than during winter, and see how that works out. Yes. So, I guess I have to go back.
Brilliant. Oh, that's excellent. I think one more go and you'll get it done, because you've learnt so much from the experience, haven't you? Is there something that you would do different next time?
I think I tried to eat much more from the start, because that was a bit of an issue on my side. I'm still not quite happy with what easy access food I can eat, so I add loads of nuts, but after 4 days I really had enough of nuts. So maybe more variety, because I always had like the same food in my drop bag, and I think that was probably a mistake. Maybe more variety of food. And then the sleep, I don't know how I can. If anybody has any idea, I'm happy to listen to it, because I don't know how to deal with the whole sleep stuff.
Yeah, it does sound like you were arriving at the checkpoints in the daytime, though, so it was kind of difficult for you to get the sleep. Maybe a bit more sleep out on the trail at night, but then you need good weather for that. But you can experiment with that in the summer version.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point, Claire. I mean, I pushed on beyond Hebden Bridge, which was checkpoint 1, before I had got my head down, and that just meant that I was hitting the sleep points at, in the dark, really, rather than in daylight. So
yeah, it makes a big difference, definitely.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And Guy Greatorex wants to know, have you got any other races in mind apart from the Spine, like this year or next year? Like, he suggested the Arc of Attrition, which I think is 135 miles in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Okay, that came up. Yeah.
Next one is 100 miler. It's South Downs Way, so that's in the south, so there's no bugs involved. It's nice and dry.
Yeah, we know that one.
And it's only 100 miles. Do you find yourself thinking that, it's only 100 now, after 268? You're like, it's only 100.
Not quite at that stage.
No, because the cut-off time is 30 hours, so I think, for me it's gonna require.
Gotta get a wiggle on.
Yeah, you need some proper running involved in there.
Yeah, and then Val d'Aran.
It's one in the Pyrenees.
Yeah, which the UTMB organised.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Val d'Aran.
Val d'Aran.
Yeah.
Val
d'Aran.
Val d'Aran.
It's
Val d'Aran.
No, Aran. It's
Aran.
ARAN.
Yeah.
ARAN.
Yeah, so it's UTMB, because they changed their point system, so they organize quite a lot of other races, and if you finish those races, you have easier entry to the UTMB next year, so that's the plan.
So that's 100 kilometers and about 7,000 meter climb.
Oh wow, okay. And
that's a tough one.
When was that, sorry?
That's early July.
Okay. And when's the Summer Spine? Is that not that time as well?
Oh, not this year.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think I will have enough days off from work for
Yeah.
I may have to change job for that.
Yeah, become a running journalist. Then you'll have enough
I
time.
don't want to compete with you, Claire.
You could be a French one or a Belgian one.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, guys, for answering everybody's questions. For example, Graham House says, thanks for the great answer, much respect. It's been really great to hear from you guys tonight, and it's just so nice to chat to somebody who's not an elite level athlete and everything's gone right, because I feel like whenever I talk to people it's always about when stuff's gone well. So I think there's a lot to be said for having a go, not getting things quite right, or things not going quite to plan, and then you learn a lot from that. So
yes,
major respect. And so I did ask you earlier if you're going to the National Running Show this weekend, so I'm going to be at the National Running Show this weekend. So what did you guys say you were doing this weekend?
Sleeping, I think.
Just sleeping.
Put my feet up.
Yeah, more sleeping, I think.
Yeah.
I think, sorry.
Brilliant.
Should we make up an answer? Is that right?
No, sleeping is a good answer. Yeah.
You have not sorted all the kit, I think, from the race. So much washing when you come back. Oh God, that's horrible.
Everything must be so muddy. Like you start off with 20 kilograms of kit and it gets so wet and muddy that you've got like 25 kilograms by the end.
Yes, and a bit smelly.
And a new washing machine.
Probably it's clogged up with mud.
It's taken some beating,
Yeah. Well, it's brilliant. So we've got loads of people are saying well done. So I'll just read some out before we end the live broadcast. So Paul Feeley says, thanks guys, with a big smiley face. Guy Greatorex says, thanks for a great interview, guys. We're all so proud of you both. Amazing. And Ivy Winwood says, well done on all your hard work and good luck in your next race. And John Gardner says, great interview, well done to both heroic athletes. So there you are. You are heroic athletes. That is wonderful. So thanks everybody for watching, and thanks so much to Pascale and to Chris for telling us about their experience on the spine race. I hope that helps anyone who's going to do the spine race, but if you're not, then I hope it was an interesting insight into what goes on this 268-mile race across the Pennines. So thank you very much, guys, and
thanks for having us.
Yeah, just contact us if you need any more advice.
Yeah,
I mean, that's quite happy to
help.
Answer any other questions.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So in the comments below, in the YouTube comments, then if anyone wants to ask you any questions, then you can have a check back and comment back to them and see if you can give anybody a bit of assistance there. That's really kind of you.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Thanks very much, guys.
Questions.
I will see you soon, hopefully, but not the running show.
Have a good show.
Cool. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.